Hello and welcome to Miniatures Rundown, continuing our Age of Sigmar 4.0 faction focuses. Foci? Focapodes?
Focapodes.
Focapodes. That sounds weird. This time we're doing Kruleboyz. We did 2 orders, 1 chaos.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't mean to. Death will do you next, I promise. As we complain about Night Haunt for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Spooky. No, we're doing Kruleboyz, the first of our destructions, and possibly the happiest faction in this edition.
You think in the edition? Definitely the happiest faction of destruction.
Definitely the happiest faction destruction. I'm thinking more in terms of glow up.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Than anybody else.
That's fair.
Kruleboyz, your day has come. Finally, you lived an entire edition of being the new antagonist and of being possibly the worst faction in the entire game for a lot of 3.0.
Yeah.
Like, eventually they got there when they had to rewrite their everything.
Yeah. They only buffed their basic core rules like 4 times, and then they were finally playable.
And then finally had to give them a sub-faction that's just like, okay, you know what, you just can't shoot them outside of 12. You know what, fine.
just play them.
Just do something. And they were playable towards the end.
Yeah.
Now, we've gone from playable to, I'm in danger.
Actually, pretty dang good.
Yeah. Let's get into it, I guess.
All right.
So cruel, these boys.
So for the Kruleboyz, they have what is essentially one battle trait. But the way that it works is it's called the dirty tricks. They used to have something like this, but this is a more like refined and transferred into the 4th edition.
And this, if this is all you look at, like, so for example, during the faction focus preview,
Right.
when this was all they showed, everyone was like, oh man, they've taken the one good thing and made it worse.
Yeah.
Proof that you should see the whole picture before making opinions.
Exactly. So how it works. The passive of the dirty tricks. Your army can use 1 dirty trick ability per phase. The effect of the dirty trick is only applied if you make a successful dirty trick roll. The success of dirty trick roll depends on the number of dirty tricks you have already used this battle round. It starts at a 2+ for the first one, then a 3+, then a 4+, then a 5+. There are 4 different abilities, and basically what it means is they get progressively harder to do throughout the battle round. All of these are once per turn, which means you can do each of them twice per battle round.
Right, because it's any phase, not just your... well, one of them is only your phase, because
yes,
one of them is your hero phase. So that one you can't use during your opponents. But the other one is any charge phase, any movement, and any combat.
Yes.
Which means you could use them, again and again.
My
But
movement, your movement, my charge, your charge.
I will say that, the main complaint about this is that this is a complaint with Age of Sigmar in general right now, is that it always sucks when there's a chance for nothing to happen.
Yeah, even on your first one.
You could always roll that one.
You could always
16 point whatever % chance.
16.66.
Right. And that is a feel bad.
It is.
Luckily the war schools make up for it, but
they're all decently powerful. There's one that has a small use case that might not come up, but it is still pretty good. So the first one is Lethal Surprise, which is in any charge phase. You pick a unit that charged a friendly Kruleboyz unit, and you make a dirty trick roll. Obviously, it gets harder the later this is. You inflict D3 mortal damage, and if they have charge +1 damage, which I think is only on like lances,
it's generally shock cavalry.
yeah, then they lose that ability.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. The D3 damage is good enough.
Yeah, that second half only has niche use, although there is a lot of things that really want to kill you dead that have plus charge damage.
Yes.
Blood Knights, I believe. Varangard.
Blood Knights do. I'm trying to remember the name of it. The Khorne Mortal Cavalry.
Yeah.
Have that.
Blood Crushers? No, that's the Immortal Cavalry.
Yeah, it's something.
I don't play Khorne, can you tell?
I do, and I still don't remember.
You got no excuse, man. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, just D3 mortals. Boop.
That's always good.
And it's not like roll a dice and on a 2+ you do D3 mortals. It's just automatic D3 mortals. You'd have to roll a dice to make it go off.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't know it is kind of roll a dice to make it happen.
But it's not like, well, I was thinking it would be the dirty trick roll and then you have a chance to fail again, which you don't.
I will also say there is no downside for failing a dirty trick.
There's not.
So
you just try it out.
If you kind of save the one that you want to do that's the most important, and then just use the others because you can.
Yeah, why not?
Like, you've got nothing to lose, I guess.
Before we say the second one, I'm going to say something that's not listed here, but it should be mentioned. Basically, except for Hobgrot Slitas and companion weapons, basically every melee weapon has critical hit mortal wounds.
Yeah, that's their
In
poison.
the whole faction.
Yeah.
So this one is very good. In your hero phase, this is the one that you can only use once per round. Pick a friendly Kruleboyz unit to be the target, then make their dirty trick roll. Until the start of your next turn, critical hits are scored on a 5+, which I haven't read every faction, but I believe is the only place to get better crits.
No, it's not to my knowledge. I cannot remember what the other place I saw this was.
Okay.
I want to say Lizardman, maybe. I could be very wrong.
That would be why I didn't see it.
But this is rare.
Yeah, it is super
Critting
rare.
on 5 is rares.
And it's not just in your combat phase.
Right.
So it's your shooting if you have, because the bows do critical lethal hits, whatever. Like, that is really good.
Now, the downside is you have to pick one Kruleboyz infantry.
Yes.
And most of your infantry, or in fact all of your infantry, isn't really pulling double duty.
No.
You don't have hybrid infantry units.
No, but you could put it on a unit of bows or a unit of... and
Right,
you get to pick
but I'm
every
saying
turn.
you have the option for shooting or melee, but you're probably only going to get to utilize one.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to go like, I'm going to shoot, get my critical hits, and then charge and get my
Right.
critical
Yeah.
hits.
What are you, a space marine? No.
The next one is... This one's a little interesting. It's in the movement phase. It is called Sneakin'.
Sponsored by Skechers.
Sponsored by Skechers. Pick a friendly Kruleboyz infantry that has 10 or fewer models and not in combat. And basically they get to teleport. Pick them up off the board, put them back on the board within 3 inches of a terrain feature, not within 9 inches of an enemy. So the fact that it has to be 10 or fewer models means it's limited a little bit. You can't do it on
A reinforced
unit.
Slitters or whatever.
Yeah, slitters and basic infantry. Both are base 10-man units, so you can't do it on a reinforced. You could do it on a reinforced bow unit, though.
So that one's probably the best one.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's the one that you might want to save your roll for, because that is what gets you tactics points and lets you actually win the game.
Exactly.
Don't think of that as a teleport to do damage. Think of that as a teleport to get places where your opponent really doesn't want you to be, either to ruin their tactics. Remember, this is any movement phase, not just yours. So somebody could set up a charge and you can go. You know that one meme of the guy going like peace and just like fades away?
Yeah.
It's basically that.
They come up at you and you're like, how about instead I'm behind you?
An opponent has a battle tactic where they have to kill a certain unit. They just don't get to do that this turn.
Yep, you just peace out.
Incredibly powerful.
Yeah, that one's really good. And it gets better in one of the sub-factions. The last dirty trick is called Noisy Racket. It is in any combat phase. Pick an enemy unit in combat with the Kruleboyz unit to be the target. Make a dirty trick roll. The target has strike last for the rest of the turn.
So this is the one that shows up at in the last phase of the turn.
Last phase of the turn. So,
and this is the one that you're probably going to roll just because you can.
Yeah, it's going to be the least likely to go off unless for some reason you didn't use any of the other ones.
You've always got a 1 in 3 chance at the worst to make it happen.
That's true.
So
because it never goes to a 6.
You might as well.
Yeah.
But you probably don't want to save your points for that unless it's really going to make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. And again, that is in both combat phases, which can be very strong. Then we move on to the sub-factions, the battle formations. Hey, I said it right.
Yes.
The first one, and I'm going to be honest with you, probably the best one, is the Kruleboyz Claw.
So I read that and I think of like the Lizardman's Quotal's Claw. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I also think, next time, Gadget.
It is the Swamp Shroud, which is, you alluded to earlier from the last edition. Friendly Kruleboyz units that are wholly within 3 inches of a terrain feature are not visible to enemy units more than 12 inches away.
So this is kind of like Grin Blades, which is what it was last edition, where that was just always, like, they had to do this last edition because Kruleboyz were so bad. It was just you could never be shot outside 12.
Yep.
Now, you're just not visible outside 12 if you're within 3 inches of a terrain feature.
Yes.
Terrain is more important this edition. They finally have done that, finally. So this is still really, really, really good.
It is really strong.
Remember, visibility is not just shooting, but also
spells. You don't really need visibility for charge, right?
No.
Okay.
Abilities, though.
Yep.
Anything
abilities.
that says pick a target, if you can't see the target, you can't pick it.
Yeah. It is really, really strong.
Yeah. The next one, middle finger. Like,
I honestly read that as Medul, so I didn't actually get that pun until you said it.
yeah, like this is a middle finger joke. Like this, I don't know. This is the closest thing to obscene we get in Age of Sigmar, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like, a gesture you can't make on YouTube, you get demonetized. So careful talking about it. So this one's for shooting. This is only during your shooting phase. Yours. Pick 3 friendly Manskewer Bolt Boys or completely broken Beast Skiller Killboy units. That's not true.
It's not broken.
They're just really good.
It's really good.
You pick 3 of your Beast Skewer Killboy units because that's what you're bringing. For the rest of the turn, add 3 inches to the range characteristic.
Yeah.
That's not bad, but I'd rather my Beast Killer was just by a terrain piece and couldn't get shot back.
Yeah. So the only thing that makes this like kind of good is that both the Bolt Boys and the Killbow have an ability to get +1 to hit if they stand still.
Yes.
Which with +3 inches is more reliable.
Yeah.
And this one, rather than being the middle finger, it is the light finger, which is dead sneaky. It is you can use the sneaky sneakin' dirty trick twice per phase rather than just once.
Yep.
So you can teleport 2 units. So it is, twice per turn instead of only once per turn. So you can teleport 2 units in my turn and 2 units in your turn.
See, I think this one is better than Kruleboyz Claw.
The only reason I would say this is not better is because you still have to roll the dirty trick.
Yes.
So you could fail.
And it goes from a 2 to a 3 that second time.
Yeah.
So now you're at 66% chance to pull it off, which 33% chance not to.
I mean, teleporting is really, really good. This one is probably my second favorite.
Yeah, I like that one better,
Yeah.
but it's very close.
Yeah.
Last one is Trophy Finger. Unfortunately, they cut the 5th one, which was Sticky Finger, because he was going to sue.
Yeah.
Trophy Finger is companion weapons used by friendly Kruleboyz units have crit 2 hits. You have some really good companions here.
It's one of the only things I've seen that like actually makes companion weapons better.
Yeah.
Because like the whole point of companions is you can't mess with them. There is a lot of good ones because there's the guy on the back of the big brute, there's the marsh claw and all that stuff. Those are all companions, which again don't have critical mortal wounds, so giving them critical 2 hits is pretty good.
It's not bad. The problem is that the other 2 are really, really good.
Yeah, agreed.
Heroic traits, Cunning Warlords.
All
Every
right.
single one of these should be said in the vocal cadence of an orc from Shadow of Mordor. So just
Yeah. First we have the Egomaniac. This is while this unit is within combat range of a friendly non-hero infantry unit, you get a ward 4-up, and it's passing off wounds.
It's Bodyguard.
It's bodyguard and a 4-up. It's not bad. The fact that you can put it on, so it is while this unit is within combat range of a Kruleboyz infantry unit, so you can put it on one of your big mounted units and pass off wounds.
Yes.
which is awesome.
Which is good. It can really keep something alive longer than it should. Backstabber, which happens at the end of any turn. Pick an enemy hero in combat with both this unit and another friendly Kruleboyz unit. Hit D3 mortal damage on them, and then add +1 to that mortal damage for each friendly Kruleboyz unit in combat with the target in addition to the first 2.
So it really rewards you on ganging up.
Yeah, it's just like,
But it
okay.
seems really hard to do.
Like, yeah, you really have to, like, I guess Karazai hates this.
Yeah.
Because, he wants to go into a unit of people and just, like, start wreaking havoc.
But you have to have 2 units to even make it work.
You also have to survive to the end of the turn.
It is end of turn. And
So getting into combat with 3 monsters in Yndrasta doesn't help you.
no. So this one is probably my least favorite. It still has some uses, but
It's still good though, and it's funny.
and again, the fact that you don't have the ability to fail once you get to that point is nice. The next one is Slippery Scumbag.
With a K, because you would.
Yeah. In any combat phase, if this unit is in combat, roll a die on a 3-up. You can immediately retreat as though you're in movement phase without suffering any mortal wounds.
Yeah, so this is nice because it's
It's in the combat phase.
but it's instead of fighting, right?
No, because combat abilities happen before fighting.
You're right. So this is
So it's before fighting, so it's not instead of fighting. So it happens before either player fights.
right. Well, but if you use this, then you can't fight because you.
But they also can't fight you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So
no.
you get charged and you just like on a 3-up, you
You
just
just
back
peace out.
Yeah.
But this is not a fight and then peace out.
No.
Vermin Lord Deceiver, this ain't.
Yeah, that's true.
Still very good for keeping certain things alive. I think I like Egomaniac the best, particularly on a beat stick monster unit.
Yeah.
The only problem with it is an infantry unit has to keep up with them.
True.
Let me get to the artifacts of power called the Cruel Artifacts. They didn't even think
They didn't try.
They didn't try. Eyebiter Ash. So this is once per battle in a combat phase. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit. Subtract 1 from hit rolls and wound rolls
Yes.
for attacks made by the target for the rest of the turn. Now, it's not just ones that target you either. This is basically pocket sand.
Yes. Enemy unit in combat with this unit. So
And
yes,
it's
you
any
can-
unit. This works on Karazai or Yndrasta.
It is once per game,
Sure, but like that
but no chance to fail.
-1
and-
to hit and wound,
and wound.
is really fun.
Especially since most monsters, like the character monsters, are usually like 3-ups,
But a lot of-
most monsters are down to like 4-ups. So
Yes.
making them like 5-up, 3-up, that's gonna be rough.
Sucks.
Yeah.
My Radagors would hate this, I tell you that.
Yeah. Next is the Mork's Eye Pebble. Once per battle reaction, opponent declares an attack ability. For the rest of the turn, friendly Kruleboyz have a ward 5 while they're wholly within 12 inches of this unit. So it's basically an AoE of ward 5 once per game when an opponent declares an attack. Can be either any kind of attack, and it is in a bubble, so it's not just the unit that's being attacked. Can be very good. Again, once per game is a little rough, but ward 5 on anything. It's not Kruleboyz infantry, it's not heroes, it's anything.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Last one is Swamp Staff, which is just a passive. If it's not a wizard, you can unbind. Otherwise, add 1 to the unit's power level. You probably want to put it on a wizard with a power level already to give them wizard 2.
Yeah.
Or wizard 3 or whatever.
I don't think there's any base wizard 2 that aren't characters.
That's fair.
We got the lore of the swamp. They didn't even put the, man. Just breaks me right out of the out of the flavor.
Sure.
Their unlimited spell is cast on a 5. It's called the Black Pit. See, they did it.
Yeah.
Kruleboyz wizard within 18 inches of a visible enemy unit. Roll a die for each model in the unit. For each 6, inflict a mortal wound.
It's horde clear.
Yeah, it's horde clear. It's only on a 6 is a little rough.
But it's a 5 to cast, so it's cheap and cheerful.
It's cheap. It's unlimited, so you can just like cast it with every guy and get some mortal wounds in.
Choking Mist is cast on a 7. You pick a friendly Kruleboyz wizard, blah, blah, blah. Pick a visible enemy unit wholly within 18. And this is weird because it's visible enemy wholly within 18.
Yeah.
Subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic, though, of the target's weapons.
Which is why, because -1 attack is really strong.
Attack's characteristic of the target's weapons, not just melee.
Yep. Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but that's real. Oh. That's fun. That's really fun. Because you have -1 attack. This is an amazing defensive spell.
Yeah.
Short range, but...
Yeah, it's a little weird that it's enemy wholly within 18. Usually it's only friendlies need to be wholly within, so...
I think they should have just made it 12 inches, but remove the wholly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Personally.
That's fair. And the last one is Mork's Cunnin. I get all the weird ones. It is cast on a 6. Pick a friendly Kruleboyz unit wholly within 12. And until the start of your next turn, add 1 to save rolls for attacks to target that unit.
It's Mystic Shield and an
Mystic
AoE. Not bad.
Is it an AoE?
No, I mean, it's within range, sorry.
Yeah. You have to pick. Yeah, it's just Mystic Shield. Meh, it's fine.
So, what were your favorite models to point out?
My favorite one is Gobsprak, the named character. He's not on the cabbage. He's on the big vulture. He is Gobsprak, the Mouth of Mork. Movement 12 inches. Health of 14, a 5-up save, unfortunately, and 5 control. He has 3 different melee weapons, 2 of which are companion. The first one is 3 attacks, 4 to hit, 3 to wound, no rend, D3 damage. Anti-wizard 1 rend. Hard to say.
Yeah, it's a wizard staff that is also anti-wizard.
Anti-wizard, and he has a lot of anti-wizard abilities. He's very self-hating.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's crit mortals as well, so you get the crit mortal ability even with your staff. You still dip that staff in poop. Then his 2 companion attacks are 7 attacks, hitting on 4s, wounding on 2s, 1 attack, 2 damage, anti-wizard 1, rend. Again, rend 2 against wizards. And the last one is only 1 attack, but it's hitting on a 3, wounding on a 2, 1 rend, D6 damage, and crit mortals.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He gets you with the little stinger in there.
Gonna get you.
If he becomes damaged, his talons and beak go from 7 to 5 attacks. That's it. He has a bunch of anti-wizard abilities. The first one of which is once per game, when he dispels, he can roll 3d6 to dispel.
You just really need to make sure spell does not go off.
Yep. And that really ties into his passive ability is every time he dispels, the wizard casting a spell takes D3 damage. Mm-hmm. And if he's dispelling on a 10+, it's D6 damage instead.
And remember, that counts with your 3d6 rolls.
Yep. And it's not 3d6 drop 1.
No.
It's always 3d6.
So someone's going to take d6 damage once per game.
Yeah. And he is a wizard 2, so he's dispelling 2 spells per turn. That is very strong. But this next one is probably my favorite on him. Once per turn, any combat phase, pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a die. If the roll exceeds their health characteristic, 1 model is slain.
Yeah. So for someone with 1 or 2 health, I mean, most things don't have a lot of health like that. You have a decent chance to kill a rat ogre.
Yeah. Because it doesn't say infantry. It doesn't say non-hero. It doesn't. You just like, hey, that guy only has 4 health.
Oh.
Whoop, he's dead.
Nope.
I really like that one. And lastly, he has the Strangling Hex, which is his signature spell. Cast on a 6, you pick a visible enemy unit within 18. Roll a number of dice equal to the target's health characteristic to a maximum of 10. Not sorry to the Mega Gargants where you're not rolling 35 dice.
I was about to say.
For each 4-up, inflict a mortal wound. So it's kind of the opposite of the unlimited spell.
Yeah, this is not horde killer. This is monster.
This is monster killer.
Kind of. It's maximum 5 damage, or
maximum
10.
Maximum 10, average 5.
That kind of I think we should just be able to roll 35 dice. I don't care.
I know, maximum 10. Come on, guys, make it maximum 20 or 30.
Don't even care. So obviously this guy is hate your wizards.
Yes.
Your wizards suck and they're going to die.
I gotta look at his points. I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
He is 380. Still not as much as a Bloodthirster.
I think it's worth every point of penny.
I think so. He has a ward 6 up and a 5 up save, so he's a little squishy. But
You could increase that to a 4 up ward though. No, but you can't.
No,
give,
you
you
can't.
give him a point. Never
Yeah.
mind. Never mind. No, so he is squishy. He'll die to shooting, but he's got enough damage, and magic is so prevalent right now
yeah,
that I don't know. I really think you should take this guy.
I agree. Every time I make a Kruleboyz list, he's the first thing I put in it.
That's fair. Brief shout out to Kragnos, who only has a 4 up save now with 18 wounds.
Yeah.
He still has a ton of attacks that do a ton of damage. 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, 3 rend, 4 damage, because screw you.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh god, crit 2 hits on the.
Yeah, crit 2 hits on Tuskbreaker. He still has his shield involet, which is, you only ignore spells on this unit on a 3 up instead of where it used to be. So he's been kind of really, his anti-spell has been very nerfed.
I wonder what he's down to.
But you still can't automatically destroy him. He just gets 6 damage, no ward roll. He does have ward 5 up though all the time, which he didn't have previously.
That's fair.
Karazai, be jealous. He does have a great rampage that really hurts monsters. If you charge, you roll a dice for every enemy unit, and you can between 2 and 6 mortals, which is pretty good.
So yeah, two up, you inflict that much damage,
But it's a D6, not a D3.
right. But against monsters,
Pick an enemy monster in combat with this unit and roll 2d6. On a 7, this ability has no effect.
That's
Otherwise, inflicts an amount of damage, mortal damage, on that unit equal to the results in the dice used. So if you roll 2d6 and you roll a roll, and 2 and 6 would inflict 12 mortal damage, 2 times 6.
Yeah.
So again, this is the whole, theoretically, he could do 36 damage to a monster if you roll boxcars.
Yeah. He used to have that thing on the charge, but it wasn't only against monsters, so I'm glad they split it.
Now it's only against monsters.
Rather than him doing 48 damage on a 20-man unit.
He also has a +1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for friendly destructions while they were wholly within 12. So nice area buff. He is your War Master, though. He can also be used in Iron Jaws, which we're not going to talk about today. I know they're in the same faction focus, but they're getting their own book.
Yeah,
so
they're getting their own book, and honestly, they're way worse than Kruleboyz. So
yeah,
don't bring my hype down.
All right, you want to go talk about the Killbow?
Yeah, let's talk about the Killbow.
Beast Skewer Killbow, if you could look up the points for me.
Oh.
He's only got 5 health, 5-inch movement, a 5-up save, and none of that matters. What he has is his ranged attack. It's 24-inch range, 2 attacks, 4s and 2s, 2 rend, d6 damage with anti-monster +1 rend, and crit auto wound.
Yes.
Which is very, very good.
Very strong.
The main thing is, though, is that once per turn during your shooting phase, you will always use this, right?
Yeah.
For the
There's no
rest,
reason not to.
you just increase the damage characteristic of the Beast Skewer bolt to 6 if the target's a monster. So instead of d6, it's just 6.
Yeah, flat 6, which is nuts.
Also, forward hit seems really bad, but if you don't move, you get +1 to hit.
24-inch range and not moving, that seems pretty reasonable.
That's pretty doable.
Yep.
But remember that a setup does count as a move.
Yes.
So, and it actually it even calls out no setting up. So you can't use the teleport thing, nothing personnel kid.
Yeah. And just snipe you in the back of the head.
Yeah, no. Dodge this.
Yeah. It's 160 points wise.
Yeah, so, and you only get 1.
It is once per turn on the monster one, not on the +1 to hit one, which is good.
That's just a passive.
Yeah, it's
or I know it's not a passive, sorry. You just pick.
But it's not once per turn.
Right. So weird.
So you can get +1 to hit against everything all the time.
Yeah.
But the only once per turn for the monster killer, which is fine. You don't want to put well, I mean, I would, but you don't want to put 36 damage into a single monster just because you're busted.
Hey, you're only gonna put 12 in.
You're only gonna put.
You only
12.
got 2. You've only got 2. They are war machines, so beware the burning head.
Yeah, but we're the burning head. And I mean, it's made mostly of wood, so that makes sense.
They're also not infantry.
They're not.
I think that's an important thing because
That's
a lot
true.
of those buffs were infantry. These are not infantry.
Yep.
So
I think it's really strong. I don't think it's as strong as you're leading on.
it's not actually broken. It's just funny to me because it's 6 damage against a monster
Yeah.
and 12.
And again, you could come across Crouching Overlords or I don't know, Lumineth, who
Yeah.
takes no monsters, and you just don't get that ability.
In which case, it's only D6 damage.
Yeah, it's only.
Oh wait,
It's only.
that's the thing about it. It's I wish it was
It's only D6.
3 damage going to 6.
Yeah,
I also just hate things with D6 damage.
That's fair.
They're never fun. I would rather this was just 3 damage.
that's fair.
Goes to 6 against monsters.
I could agree with that.
Although monsters and war machines, I think.
Yeah.
Although maybe not. I mean, those are really big arrow.
It is a really big arrow.
Hobgrots. Hobgrots. What do we do with those hobgrots?
Nothing.
They
They're
still
trash.
suck. They're not better. Wait for Chaos Dwarfs to make them good. Hey, apologies to everyone not a Mystery Science Theater fan if this even stays in.
The Swamp Boss Scumdrek is bad because one of his abilities specifically calls out friendly Hobgrot Slitta's units.
So,
He's bad by association.
but does he make him good?
I'm sorry, 2 of the abilities call out.
But does he make him good?
No, he does not.
Oh, okay, never mind.
He gives them crit mortals on their melee, which everything else in the faction has. And he gives them add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by Hobgrot Slittas that target the bet, because you get to pick something at the beginning of the game. They're bad.
Hey, +1 wound is fun.
So here's the problem. You're taking a 300-point monster to make like a 80-point unit better.
He's also got some hits himself. He's not, nothing.
But then you could take this
The Snatchaboss.
with the Snatchaboss on Sludgebreaker Beast, which is the non-character version, and you can put some really good artifacts and enhancements on him. Anyway,
Fine.
we'll talk about him because he's pretty good. It is Sludgebreaker Beast, essentially a very giant swamp sloth. That was hard to say. So he's kind of slow.
Some portmanteaus aren't worth
Sloth.
pursuing.
He is movement 8 with 14 wounds and a 4-up save. Somehow better than the leader of the faction, but whatever.
Because he won't shut up.
That's fair. He's control 5 and has, once again, 3 melees. The first one is 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, 1 rend, 3 damage, and crit mortals. The other 2 are companions, which are 6 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage, and very similar to the spike thing. He chomp ya. It is 1 attack, 3s and 2s, 1 rend, D3 plus 3 damage. The reason that I really like him is he, last edition, he had the ability to make your poison weapons better, and he has something similar here. In your hero phase, you pick a non-hero Kruleboyz unit within 12 inches wholly within 12 to be the target. Roll a die on a 2-up for the rest of the turn, +1 damage when you inflict critical mortals. And that's for any weapon. Actually, no, I say any weapon, but they don't do it on the ranged weapons. But on a 1, you inflict D3 mortals to your target.
So it's on a 2-up for the rest of the turn, add 1 to the damage characteristic of the target weapons that have crit mortal.
Oh, that's
but it's
better
not
than I
only
thought.
when they do crit mortals. It's just if they have crit mortal, they get +1 damage.
So that's actually better than last edition. 'Cause
Yes.
Last edition, it was
Only when
if
it
you
procced.
inflict the mortals, it's
now
+1.
it's just always better.
Which means on your basic unit, your 2 damage minimum. Oh, he's really good. And then he has one more ability, which is his Rampage. Once per turn, end of any turn. Interestingly, a Rampage not in the combat or charge phase.
Rampage! Sorry.
Declare an enemy unit that had any damage points allocated to it this turn by this unit's combat attacks. Roll a d3 on a 2-up, inflict an amount of mortal wound equal to damage, and subtract 1 from wound rolls to attacks made by the target until the starting next turn.
So you know that burning thing that Tzeentch is supposed to be all about? Yeah, this is just that, but better.
Yeah, it's that, but better. The only thing is you have to be in melee, but look at his melee stats. He wants to be in melee.
I jest. My only complaint about him is that he still has the boy snatching hook, but there's no snatching of boys in here.
Oh man, the snatching of the boys is my favorite part.
Yeah,
Please
like
cut that.
I saw the recent Disney Pinocchio. That was the best part.
And he is 320.
Now he is expensive,
He is expensive.
but he is damaging himself, relatively tanky. I mean, relatively.
Yeah.
And
There's
good
no
against
reward,
kind
right?
of everything, while also buffing your baseline troops.
Yeah.
I think he's great.
He's a good base to put any of those auras on, like the 12-inch aura of 5-up ward. That'd be pretty good to put on him. I like him. Obviously, the 2 biggest guys in the faction are my 2 favorites. What do you want from
It is also a cool model. I will say that.
yeah,
These
it's
all
super
are, except for Hobgrots, because
Except
they
for
suck.
God, I wish Hobgrots were good. They're not
It's
even
like
cheap.
they know they're bad.
Hobgrots are 100 points for 10 models. That is the cheapest unit in the whole faction, and they're garbage.
I mean, well, yeah, they're cheap garbage. They're supposed to be.
But they're worse than other people's cheap garbage.
Yes. You can't have it all.
Yeah, you're right. You can't have it all. You have to have 2 bad units, both of which say Hobgrot Slittas on them.
All right, so that's it for Kruleboyz.
Yeah.
Overall, Kruleboy thoughts as a person who bought into them early and didn't play them for an edition.
So I didn't necessarily buy them early. It was more along the lines I stumbled onto the Kruleboyz and fell in love. Don't worry about it.
I think that was the plot of Shrek.
It was. They do have a lot of chances to fail on their core ability, which can have a feels bad. You're gonna get those games where you just I'm gonna do it. Roll a 1.
No, you're not.
How about the next one? Roll a 2. Next one, roll a 3, and you just like don't do anything for a whole turn. But I think their war scrolls are good enough, decent enough to actually just still at least get you there. Their formation abilities just like get you ahead of the game. I want to teleport these guys all over the place.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're I think they're in a really strong place.
Yeah.
This is one where I hope their book doesn't tone them down too much.
Yeah.
They
deserve some
are,
limelight.
They are probably a little too good, but that can be fixed with some points.
Yeah.
I think the core of what they do doesn't need to be messed with.
I agree.
Maybe some abilities could, like, I guess if things went up a little in points so you could take less of these really good things, then maybe that would be the difference maker. I don't really know for sure. I haven't had enough games against these guys to know that. But I don't, like, it seems that this faction finally, what's the word for it? Works? Like, functions as a faction? And I would hate to see that taken away because they were good during the index phase, you know?
Yeah, I really hope that's not the case.
These are not 40k Eldar.
No, God no.
They're not that good.
Oh, we'll get to Night Hunt later.
I mean, even Nighthaunt probably aren't that good.
They're not.
Like, Nighthaunt and Kruleboyz are kind of top of the pack right now, right?
I've heard Tzeentch is good too, but
Tzeentch
I haven't
is-
actually seen it.
Nighthaunt and Kruleboyz, I mean, obviously, this is still early days. People sometimes we're still in the area where people can figure something out, and suddenly a faction goes because someone figures something stupid out, right? But nothing in this is as egregious as I'm going to auto delete a Imperial Knight on one
without rolling.
without rolling anything, you know. So I think obviously, in general, good place, and I think they're in a good place. I would like to see them balanced, but not. I don't really want to see any big changes, you know.
Yeah. All I really want is for them to get more units.
Yeah.
Because they have like 3 infantry units and 4 characters
And a lot of monsters.
and a lot of monsters.
They do have, I will say, if you compare this to like KO's release, they're newer and got way more.
That's true.
Or God forbid, Fire Slayers.
Yeah. Fire Slayers.
Can we talk about how we went through that entire KO review without doing a single short joke?
I mean, unless our editor put it in. Also, this is after that. Oh, I don't know if this is gonna be after. It's up to the editor.
Either way, if this is after that, then you know. If it isn't, you'll have to watch it and take my
Spoiler.
word for it. Speaking of watching it and taking my word for it, let us know below if you would like to see us do your faction next. Or rather, let us know which one you'd like to see us do next, because we're going to do them all.
Yeah, we'll do them all.
Spoilers. Really think that next might be Nighthaunt. At the very least, I want to do Death.
Yeah.
Because
Death I agree with.
We've done 2 orders, a chaos, and a destruction. Obviously, there's a lot more order to get through than anything else, because there's only like 5 destructions and 4 deaths.
Yeah.
But we still want to get through all of them, and I want to do a death next.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I want to die. That's it from us this time. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Beast Skilla. Sorry.
I'm gonna let you talk about this because you're the one that seems really high on it.
I can't.
Yeah. He still has crit mortals on his melee. He could charge.